you're live.
I am?
It says we're live.
It's alive.
It's alive. We've been alive for 4 seconds.
All right.
We'll wait for some folks to come on in here. Hopefully it'll be okay. I think our internet is kind of slow today.
Yeah.
Looks like it is. Don't move. That's when it seems to hang up. Somebody's in here. Hi. Thanks for the thumbs up. We're laying computer. And so hopefully the internet will cooperate with us. This was the actual computer, but the internet looks like it's kind of blinky. So we'll see. Hopefully not people are on the internet. That's usually the problem in this small town is too many people are on the internet and it slows it way down. But it is an overcast, cloudy day, and it is Sunday, so a lot of folks are probably on the internet, so it's going to make things slow for us. Nobody's here.
It's all right.
It's all right. Somebody will come in. But then there'll be people watching the replay, so we can talk.
We can talk about crazy
whatever. So the grass is growing crazy here. Plants are going crazy in the greenhouse. It is time to start thinking about getting the plants out of the greenhouse and into the ground. And so that is a big push this week between the rains, if we can get it to dry out enough.
Yeah. We were working in the garden quite a bit, and then it rained like 2 inches.
Yes.
And so it slowed us down a little bit. We got more stuff down. We put a bunch of mulch down.
Yes.
A bunch of hay down for mulch. Yeah. We've been getting stuff done.
So for those of you that may not know, we do a combination till and roost out because our grass and weed pressure is so aggressive weeds.
Yeah, and water availability.
Able to haul lots and lots of manure to it. But the big garden, the soil is greatly depleted, and so we've been trying to refresh that with as much organic material as possible in the forms of hay as mulch and manure. We've hauled manure in. This will be every year.
Every year we put some manure, but it's a big garden. We never get it completely covered. Right. So we've been putting manure in it, composted manure in it. We've been putting hay in it. We've actually run animals on it a time or two. We put hay and mulch in it every year that breaks down. We also make sure we plant quite a few beans.
Yes.
In that garden, and the roots of a legume can asphyx nitrogen from the air into the soil. Basically, what they do is they can provide nitrogen.
Right.
But then if you then till that back in, you get a little residual nitrogen, and you get the plant matter breaking down more. And we've been doing a lot of that. Yeah. And our chickens run on it all winter.
Our chickens running on it in the winter. When the eagles aren't crazy about eating them, the eagles like to swoop in and get them.
We got 3 people watching.
Hello, everybody. We're just chatting away, talking about gardening. Our main focus theme today is going to be animals because
we'll talk about whatever you want.
Yes.
We'll talk about whatever we want.
Yes.
And we'll talk about stuff we have no clue about. So
yeah, just hang on for the ride.
Yeah. So if you're here, if you're on here, speak up. Let
Say
us know
hello.
you're here and see who you are. And, we like to talk to you guys. We have a project we have to work on this week.
Yes, we do.
We either have to fix some fence so that Tina Ladybug. Good evening.
Hi, Tina.
We either have to fix some fence so the baby pigs aren't getting out, or we have to get a pig crossing sign for the county road.
We've really thought about the pig crossing sign.
Our daughter came in this afternoon and said, we need to fix that fence because somebody had to stop and let the baby pigs get back across the road. I'm sure they didn't mind. We've got neighbors that stop and look at them anyways.
They probably enjoy watching those little bitty bacon bits. I mean, they're no bigger than this. They're little bitty babies running across the road on those little bitty legs.
and their big ears just a flopping.
They got big ears, so they flop. But yeah, so they're cute. So I don't know. So we got to do something this week about fixing that where they are not getting in the road and causing a hazard.
We're gonna probably put the 2 bottle calves back on out on pasture this week. We're
Gina says, "Oh, yeah." I really think that we should do the pig crossing sign.
Yeah,
or
we'll probably
a kid,
do that anyway.
or pigs at play. Caution, pigs at play. Yeah. Yes. I think the I think we should take and do some signs, some triangular signs in yellow, and have a pig crossing and a pigs at play.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
We should. I really think we should.
Yep.
I think our neighbors will get a kick out of it. They'll love it. So they have been, Gary calls them domestic terrorists.
Yes.
Because
they chase the chickens, they pester the dog. One of them was chewing on my boot while I was laying in the truck working on it. They're just everywhere, trying to get in the garden.
The Roberts, Christine Weisenhunt says, or is it Wisenhunt? I'm sorry. Says the Robertsons are always talking about y'all. I've been subscribed a long time, but not watched. And I saw y'all pop up, so I thought it was time to check y'all out. Well, thanks for coming in, Christine.
Yep.
Come on in and check us out. So
we're talking about critters. Our baby pigs.
Mostly baby
and what
pigs.
Domestic terrorists they are.
Yep.
They run around little packs, squirting everywhere, pestering the dog, chasing the chickens, chewing on my boot while I'm trying to work on a truck.
Mm-hmm.
Out in the county road, making the neighbors stop and watch them run across the road, trying to get in the garden. I don't think the dairy cow likes them very much.
No, she doesn't.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, good. I was okay. So thank you, Christine. I had, our last name gets mispronounced a lot. Or still does.
A lot of my family just says it the mispronunciation just because it's easier.
Yeah, it's easier for people to spell
and there happens to be a global company that has the same name that mispronounces it.
They've caved to the mispronunciation years ago. We just hang on to it longer, but they caved and just ran with it. So but anyway, back to so we are on animals.
Yes.
Back to animals. So we are exactly 28 days. We are 4 weeks away from calf.
Yeah.
So we are in count.
I hope she's bred.
Oh, me too. So we are in countdown, and we've done something that we've warned people against.
Christine, that's because we didn't say it. That's why you missed our last name. But it is a name of a global company, and they pronounce it different than we do. But a lot of my family does pronounce it that way. But that's all we said.
Yeah, and she says we're buffering.
Yeah.
So our last name is Cargoll. Cargoll, like you are a car goal.
Hey, Brian.
But a lot of people say it Cargill because that's how it's spelled.
Yes.
So but Cargoll. It's Cargoll. I always tell the kids to pretend that they're a pirate and put the emphasis on the first syllable and not the.
My grandpa always said it Cargill.
Yep.
And a lot of the old people around where he's from said it that way, and that's kind of the way we say it. Family does say Cargill, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Nope. We'll answer too. But,
2 old people on a cattle.
Hi, Brian. So hopefully the buffering gets better. It looks like the internet is pretty busy. So we are out in the middle of the sticks.
We're just psycho like that, I guess.
Yeah.
Is that psychic, I think?
Psychic, not psycho.
Okay.
Same root word.
Hello,
Hi,
Colleen.
Colleen. So anyway, I forgot where I was going. Oh, the cow. We got to get back on the cow. Anyway, so the cow is a Jersey.
Cow?
Yes. I didn't say I was riding the cow.
Said I got to get back on the cow.
Okay. Anyway, you got to watch him, guys. But anyway, back on the subject.
Ben's over acres, hey.
Back on the subject of the cow. So, Freedom. We bought Freedom. She had been AI'd, artificially inseminated, and was due May 30th. We did something that we usually recommend. We didn't do something that we usually recommend. We did not have her preg checked. And usually you have to, it's getting worse.
Christine, nothing's showing up here, but I'm going to tell you that our internet's not great tonight. Yeah. And I hope you can pick it up. I hope it might be some on your end. I'm not sure because
I bet
it's not showing us anything. But
well, the thing's blinking like crazy, so that means it's on our end.
I don't know that we can change that, Christine.
Yeah, sorry. we may have to log off if it doesn't improve. But Freedom is supposed to be due to cab May 30th. We did not take her to get preg checked like we should have, and so let's see, she should have been preg checked after the first of the year. And we didn't do that.
We've had a lot of vehicle troubles,
yeah.
And especially pickup troubles.
Yeah.
And so we have not got to do all those things. You know, we used to do a little hot shot and stuff, but that truck is down, and
we don't have anything to pull a trailer with.
I had an old beater that was somewhere else broke down. I got it home. I finally got it running today. I drove it,
but it's not going to haul a trailer with her in it.
It's just a little like basically a car with a bed on it. So, yeah, Christine, I'm sorry you're hearing only every few words, but those are probably the only ones worth listening to anyways. So,
maybe if we be still.
I'll just play fill in the blank. That's probably going to be more interesting. I might want to listen to that.
Fill in the blanks for us in the comments so we can have fun too, Christine. But, and sometimes if we're still, but we wiggle around a lot. Sometimes if we're still, it won't, buffer is bad. So Freedom is due.
I watched a lot of cows over the years, and I have been around calving a lot. I think she's bred.
I didn't notice her cycling when we were milking her, and we milked her for several months.
Yeah.
And typically you would notice them cycling when you're milking them.
But here, a week or so ago, she was balling and running circles around the pasture. And I thought, man, I hope she's not bowling.
Well, they've added cattle all around us,
yeah,
except for to the east of us. So cattle have come to pasture to the north of us, and we brought in cattle to the west of us.
Dallas not put anything out there yet?
I don't think Dallas has put anything in the east pasture. So I don't know. She may just be feeling a little frolicky with have a little bit of spring fever.
And she's big old bellied.
Have a little bit of spring fever.
And she's big old bellied.
She
is a Jersey. Oh, there it is.
Buffering. Okay, it says hopefully we're back live.
Reconnected.
Sorry, guys. We may have to get off and go, but yeah. So we're gonna try to do a live tonight. I'm sorry about the buffering. I don't know what we can do other than complain to the internet company, and they're not really gonna care. But they just kind of, just welcome to life in the country.
They have come and checked on our equipment, and that was the problem, but a lot of times it's not, and I know that, and they know that.
Yeah. Their system's just overloaded, and
so we got a cow that's fixing the calf. I hope.
We hope. Yep, we hope.
Cindy and I went to go check some cows that a guy I work for put on pasture across the road from us. We went to go check on them. Was that yesterday?
That was yesterday, and and there was a new calf.
Brand new baby calf.
It's a lot better when we're still. Okay, so don't move, Christine says. No wiggling, Gary.
I'm not sure I can do that.
He's gonna move on purpose. Watching.
I'm trying to hold still. I don't hold still very well. That's what my teacher said.
So anyway, we're gonna try not to move. Still. Don't even blink. No, I'm kidding. He's gonna start wiggling his nose. Oh goodness. So anywho.
We were checking on cows.
Checking cows. Found a baby.
Found a cow down in the timber with afterbirth hanging out of her through the timber, and we had a brand new baby on the ground.
Yep. So she'd had a little baby. That was cool. I took a picture and sent it to the guy. Yeah, good luck with that not moving. You're right, Colleen. He's wiggling all over the place. He can't be
I'm
still.
trying very hard.
He can't be still. Good luck with me being still too. I moved too. But anyway, so we went and checked on that baby cow, and it was good, and Mama was good.
Sent pictures to the
Sent
owner's
pictures
wife.
to the owner's wife, and yeah. So, but yeah, but mainly we're having trouble with those ornery baby pigs running amok.
Yeah.
So
The domestic terrorists.
yeah, they're not really causing us that much trouble, like on the homestead part, except for the worry of them getting in the road. And the neighbors are concerned, rightfully so. They're all careful, but you never know who you're going to get coming down the road. Luckily, we're close to a spot where they need to be stopping and slowing down the county, and we know we need to do some fencing, however we decide to do that to keep them in.
We're going to work on that this week.
Yeah, we'll work on that this week in the morning. Try to get them running all over the road. So, trying to think what else have we got.
We got rid of the quail.
We got rid of the quail. So
my quail hens were getting older. We decided we wanted to try a different bloodline, and so we got rid of the hens. We gave them to a friend of mine.
Oh, Christine, we're going to have to say DTs because they flagged the comment with the T. The comment with the T.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to have to change our verbiage.
I never thought about that bringing up problems.
So YouTube doesn't like. Yeah. So YouTube doesn't like. Yeah. Well, but
they're just little old white piggies, but they just run everywhere.
They're running everywhere, so we can't use the T word anymore. I did get it unflagged, Christine, but yeah.
We could call them hanyakers.
Hanyakers, chicken chasers. Well, I don't know what a hanyaker really means. That may be a bad word. That's just what Granny calls it. I know.
Till the pigs start dancing.
Yeah, that's cute. Hey, Jan, how are you?
Hey.
Yeah, Christine, I know it. It's not your fault. We just didn't think about that word being a flag for them.
Jan, are you sure you're qualified to be in here?
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Send me a copy of that.
Christine. Christine,
okay.
we need.
I try to be super respectful of everybody.
Yes.
And I try not to stir up nothing, and I don't think it's worth it. But it's just accidental, not politically correct most of the time. Politically correct most of the time. Okay,
Miss Jan, you got a ranch, dear heart. I hope you like that. I don't know how. I just volunteered you. I didn't even ask.
Somebody volunteered me one time. I'm like, I barely know how to turn this thing on. How am I going to moderate?
So, Jan, if you're coming in, we're buffering pretty bad. Our internet is really slow today. Everybody's using it here in this little town because.
For some of you that don't know, we don't really have internet at our home. The homestead, the farm doesn't have that. And so we drive to our church building, and we would use my office, but we actually get better internet at the church building in the kitchen. The church's kitchen. We're at the church building's kitchen.
That's the crazy thing. The best place we get internet is in the kitchen. So
that's where our church family spends most of the time anyways.
Eating.
Yes. We eat, drink coffee, or just stand around and talk around the refrigerator. I don't know.
You're qualified.
All right. Good to know, Jan. We need some qualified help in here.
Oh, goodness. Oh, he's a mess. He's a mess. Yeah. So we didn't tell the story. Jan and Kevin are in here, so we can tell the story.
I thought we told the story last week.
Did we last week?
Yes, we did.
He's mean. He's ornery. He was mean to Mr. Kevin. Yes, Gary's a pastor, Christine. Yeah. Gary's a pastor here at a small Baptist church here.
And Cindy's definitely a huge part of that.
Yeah. We are a team. We are definitely a team in this adventure.
Mm-hmm.
And that is definitely what it is an adventure. Tell it again. Okay, so we show up at the Missouri meetup, and we're getting out of the car, and this very nice gentleman walks up, and he says, "Can I help you?"
No, he said, "Do you need help?"
Do you? And Gary says, "Yes." And Gary says, "Yes, but I don't think you're qualified." And here is this poor man just dumbfounded. He's just taken aback. He has no idea. He doesn't even know who we are. And he's just sorry. Sorry. So, and he's like, "Oh, yeah, no, I'm not qualified." He says, "But I can help tote stuff." Carrie, he doesn't say tote. Carrie.
Yeah.
Psychiatrist. See? So him and Gary they would
work and construction my whole life. And I thought everybody said stuff like that.
But not to people they just meet. That's been the whole little thing between us, is like, you just met this, you hadn't even met him. He's just coming up offering to help. You don't even know who this guy is. And you pop something off like that. I mean, talking about socially awkward.
He hadn't forgot me since, has he, Jan? He has not forgot me since, has he, Jan?
Oh, man. No. You can count on Gary, dog. Yeah. So, yeah. So our homestead is just a few miles south of it. I think I smoothed things over. I shared some of my pickled stuff with them. Sent him home with
food always makes it better.
Sent him home with the pickled squash. Sent him home with
food always makes it better.
Sent him home with the pickled squash.
Food always makes it better.
And Miss Jan, did you get the pickled dilly beans? Because they were gone. But anyway, we had a blast. So we're still on animals. So we are up to 5 cows. Our stalker cattle were sold, and we reinvested that money, and they'll be purchasing more. There'll be weanlings. Weanlings. Poor Ben.
So we gave the money back to the farm partner, and he put it in the farm account, and then
they'll put them up. Jan says they brought home the dilly beans and the squash. So good. That's, we were hoping you got them.
So what about you guys? We've kind of told you what we're up to and how our animal stuff is going. Let's hear what you guys got animal stuff going, garden stuff going in. Anybody finding mushrooms? Anything like that? Anybody fishing? Some of you guys are probably where the white bass are running. Anybody catching fish? Sand basses are known in Oklahoma. Well, we got.
They're typing.
Oh, they're typing.
They're typing. I'm sure that's what it is. Yep. They're typing. So while you're typing, so I've been doing chickens. I've been catching different hens eating eggs. No, Christine's running behind on garden. We are too. Oh,
Christine, where are you at?
Hang on. Okay, Christine. Christine's running behind in her garden. Hey, you won't be completely behind. I mean, there's lots of things that will that have a pretty long stretch of when you can plant them.
Christine, I don't know where you're at.
She's at OKC.
Oh, okay. Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah, you can still get, you got lots of times. You still can get in tomatoes, green beans, your lettuces and stuff. You're getting close to the last planting date for them.
It's a good time to plant okra.
Yeah, it is a good time to plant okra.
Actually, you're probably getting about the time you put in watermelon seeds.
Yes. Yeah.
If not right now in a week or so.
Yeah. Jan says they're looking for cattle, and Kevin didn't get one bite today when he went fishing.
Huh.
Oh, Colleen has 8 hens and a roo, a garden, and she's running behind as well. Jan says,
Hey, Alan.
"Hey, Alan," and Alan's in. Alan took home some goodies too from the meetup. So, train some milk goats.
Yeah.
I wish we were closer, Alan. I would definitely come and help you train for milk goats.
Maybe getting some milk goats. I ran her grass off of her, but she's got a place around the house where she can put stuff.
Yeah. She's got plenty of room to put a goat and not get into the pasture at all. So, so we were talking animals and gardening today, Alan. I know it would be fantastic. I'm so sorry that we're like five, almost 6 hours away.
Yeah.
I think
we can be in Missouri in less than 2, but
no,
not near far.
Just over 2.
Just over 2. Okay. Is that how long it takes us to get?
Yeah. Jan's putting in cantaloupe, corn, watermelon, jalapenos, and other peppers in.
Yeah.
Christine,
you've got plenty of time to get all that in the ground there in Oklahoma. I'm sure there's people that already have it in the ground, but you're still good.
And I would just challenge Christine to learn add one thing a year or so. We do add 1 or 2 new things. Even for us, we've been gardening for close to 30 years.
So that you probably that Sandy Rig clay, they're OKC, and definitely your tomatoes and your peppers, some cantaloupe. See if you can try that this year. That might be a good idea. Cantaloupe are good to eat. You definitely will have to put make sure there's some kind of more nutrients in the soil for them.
Yeah, she says she's not finding she wasn't nourishing them right. If you can get a hold of some composted manure or some rabbit, hang on. It's gonna reconnect. If you can get Christine, if you can get a hold of some composted manure or some rabbit manure is even better, because rabbit manure is a cold manure. It doesn't have to compost before you can use it right now. Plant our tomato plants in rabbit manure to help with that. We just dig the hole and fill it around. Also, you can add Epsom salts. There's also some other stuff you can add. Calcium carbonate. Is that right?
Yeah.
Calcium carbonate.
Which you can buy a lot of times in a powder form at farm and ranch stores.
Yeah.
It's also Tums.
You can put Tums in.
I would look at composted manure in there, but let me tell you, your first few years trying to get the soil going, it takes a while to build good soil. 10-20-10 fertilizer or 20-20-20 fertilizer. Use a little of that. I know that a lot of people are concerned about using chemical. Use some pelletized fertilizer. The way it goes through your plant, it will affect your plant no different than if it's getting it from compost. And it is a cheap, quick, easy way to make sure your garden actually produces. It's better than wasting your plants and them not producing. So don't be afraid of trying to use a little fertilizer. If you really want to use organic, you can buy organic fertilizer. It just takes more of it.
Colleen says she's going to be up potting peppers tomorrow and planting seeds in the ground this week. Jan's got okra going in. M&C says hi, Jan. And
she said, yeah, we do. They do have that red clay.
Yeah, what grows best in that soil?
Okra, tomatoes, and peppers. That's a good place to go.
Yeah.
Cantaloupe. I'd try some cantaloupe if I.
Yeah. Jan says life ain't right without okra. I agree, Jan.
Jan, I don't know if you know our okra story, but we'll have to tell that
one. Jan says this year they did a little eggs and fertilizer in their tomatoes. Yeah. Yes, eggshells also. Eggshells, pulverized eggshells will do really good too.
I think, Jan, I don't know if you're talking about this, but I've seen where they put a whole egg.
Yeah.
In the hole, put it in the hole, and then put some soil on top of that so that your roots aren't setting right up against it until they've worked into it.
Yeah. Okay. Alan says that Alan is M&C Family Homestead. Alan says they got goat and rabbit poo, and next week they'll be getting 1-year-old cow manure. That's great. And Drops, hey Drops says raccoons don't like Epsom salts, by the way. Good to know. We need to know that. Do you know anything that coyotes don't like? Because they like to carry off our melons more than anything.
Man, like coyotes will carry off a whole cantaloupe and carry it down to the tree line and eat it.
Christine's using containers for raised beds.
Okay,
Awesome,
okay.
awesome. So you can dissolve some Epsom salts, and so long as you don't do it in the heat of the day, Christine, like if you do it late in the evening, you can spray your plants, the whole plant down with dissolved Epsom salts and water. And I don't remember what the ratio is right now. I'm so sorry. And they'll absorb that. If you're concerned about it being the heat of the day, you can put that diluted Epsom salts, or even just sprinkle a teaspoon of Epsom salts around the base of the plant and then water it in.
Christine, we're from a little north of there.
Yes.
And my grandpa had that old red clay paint pelletized fertilizer, but he used lots of cow manure and stuff too. They're still red.
Yep.
And it'd stain everything out there, but he grew an amazing garden in it.
Just don't give up, Christine. Don't give up. And every year is different. Like we have been having problems for the last 2 years with cucumbers and beans, like our bush beans. And we keep saying we're only going to grow bush beans in the fall, and then every spring, Miss Cindy says, "I've got to plant my beans." So
it says they use the whole egg. That's
okay.
The nutrition of the protein of the yolk.
Right.
And that's what that does. It turns into nitrogen.
Yes, Jan. Yes, Jan, but we are too close to a major road. So that's going to cause us some difficulties.
Yeah. And we shoot there sometimes.
Yeah, so we have to be careful and take into account of what direction we're pointing that thing. We're our people. Well, Jan, y'all are our people too. Thank you. Yeah. Tomatoes next. Yes. Jan, you and Al don't far apart. Did all in the mornings put okay. Good. Yeah.
Christine, make sure you
good. Yeah.
Christine, make sure you, if you're building up those raised beds, compost and composted manure, hay mulch or grass mulch. Be careful about grass seed, grass mulch, hay.
If you're concerned about your hay or your grass having seed in it, you can put it in go to Sutherland's and ask them for a cover and ask for 2 of those. Lay one down, put that hay or grass down, cook that hay and grass clippings, and it'll kill any seed. And so you'll want to leave it like that for probably a week. Throw that out there on that straw and grass after about a week. Throw it out onto there. It should kill anything that's in. Yes.
Check the Oklahoma City State Fairgrounds.
The recycle center.
Yeah, your recycle center may have a compost pile.
They may have a compost pile.
And so that's the places you can check. Feed store. They might know somebody who's got a barns that they clean out that you can go get it from.
Princess Lillian's here. Hi, Lily. How are you? Welcome, honey.
Christine Wisenhunt wants to know how to contact you so she can get instruction.
Okay. Pathways Homestead at Pathways Homestead at gmail.com. Best way to get a hold of me. Pathways Homestead at gmail.com. Let me see if I can get that in here.
Jan, can you put no, she can't do that. You're gonna have
to. If I can spell. Sorry, guys, my dyslexia is bothering me today.
Hello, Princess Lillian's garden. I'm sorry about the buffering, guys. I don't know what to do about it. Colleen. Yeah, the composting your chicken manure and your grass and dried leaves for a year.
Yes.
And that is a great way of making a compost pile, and that's great for your garden. Coyotes don't like donkeys. Well,
Yeah.
yes.
My dad's got a pretty good breeding program for donkeys going on his farm.
Christine will answer all the questions you can. And we kind of are from somewhat that part of the world.
Yes, we are northeast of there. Our last homestead was in Cushing, so north and east of you, a little over an hour, or north and east of Oklahoma City, a little over an hour.
Our last homestead in Oklahoma.
In Oklahoma, yes, I'm sorry.
That's all right.
Our last homestead in Oklahoma. My folks are close to Manford, Oklahoma, between Manford and Oilton. Oilton's to the west of them, and Manford's to the east of them. And but and then Gary's got some family in Shawnee. So yeah, that's going to be interesting. Yeah. Pray for us this week.
We're probably going to put a post up about that.
Yeah.
They're selling my grandma's place, but they're auctioning. They're doing a sale, I guess, this week. This coming weekend.
Yeah, the farm, the land that just sold to a neighbor. The pasture land, that neighbor been renting the land for quite some time. And so Jan, we plan on going to Pryor, yes.
If everything works out.
Hopefully everything's going to work out good. This truck being broke down, the big truck, our big farm truck, and it actually was making part of our income as well. We got to do some hot shot opportunities with it. It being down and it looking like that we're going to have to purchase a complete new engine because finding a rebuilt engine is becoming a difficult thing. And so we've been skimping and saving and doing everything we can to make things a little cheaper to be able to get that replaced.
We have a pretty decent 2006 3/4 ton pickup that was for pulling our cattle. We did some hot shotting with it. And we worked the handyman stuff with it. And the motor went out on it at the end of last year. And we're trying to get that done. We had a reman one ordered, and it never came through.
It's never come. Come.
Now we're in the process of getting, got some friends working on it, and they're taking it apart. And we're going to have to buy a new motor from GM.
Yeah.
And that's very costly.
Yes.
I had a little Ranger, 99 Ranger, and I just run around with my tools and could do a few things out of the bed of, and the transmission went out of it. So it's setting. We own a 92 Chevrolet pickup, just a half ton. I mean, it's light as the Ranger, V6, 5-speed. And it was broke down in Kansas City. My son finally got it to us, and I got it running enough that I can run around here and have a vehicle. There's still lots of issues with it. It may die at any minute, but.
Christine, Hotshot is contracting to haul loads. So we would haul small loads that were too small for like a semi trailer or whatever. Usually one day, like we ran to Cushing or actually Pawnee, between Pawnee and Cushing. We went down between Pawnee and Cushing and picked up a piece of farm machinery that we could pull behind the pickup. We've hauled We've hauled mats on a trailer. Picked up hay. Yeah, just small things that are too small for like a big commercial, a big company just doing. So they call that hot shotting.
And it's usually just going somewhere and getting one specific load or item and bringing it back. It's not like a route of hauling multiple things to different places. It's just a one-shot deal. So it's kind of that's why it's called hot shotting.
Thanks, Jan. Have a good evening. Jan's got to go. So, and I've kind of done a lot of hot shotting in my life. hauling fuel for my dad back when it was
parts.
still legal, running parts. I run parts a lot still. But yeah.
I had to go get a Brandon iron last week.
I had to go get a Brandon iron last week. And yeah, so we got kind of busy, and so I didn't get to film all that, but I do have a pretty long video coming up, and we may break it up and be a series about ranching in the Flint Hills.
Guys, I encourage you guys, especially you guys that are learning about rural ways of life, watch that video.
Yeah, it's going to be a while before I have it come up.
Yeah.
I've got a lot more editing to do. I've got a lot more filming to do. So I think it's going to have to be a series. I think I need to get part of it finished and get it up, and then get the next part up, because it needs to be a year-long series. You know, I need to have pieces of it about once a month, probably.
Are we going to call it like Ranching in the Flint Hills?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
For you guys that don't know, we have our homestead
Yes.
where we raise livestock. We partner on a stocker cattle venture investment.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
I do some handyman work.
Mm-hmm.
We pastor a church.
Yes.
Definitely together.
Yes.
And I do some ranch work, some day work for guys. And one particular guy that I do some ranch work for, I also do some construction work for. And so we have gotten to film a lot of the ranching stuff I'm doing for that guy. And
we've done some with Stewart's as well.
Yeah, if you guys go back on our videos, you'll see videos of me working cattle with the Stewart on the Stewart farm. And some of those are what we've invested in for stockers, and some of them are their cow-calf operation.
Yes.
But
Christine says a series would be awesome. Cool. And I don't know, it wouldn't come up on a regular time, but we could get that series going. I need to get that going. And it'll be one of those that'll say to be continued at the end of it, and have an episode 1, 2, 3, and 4. But yeah.
But cattle ranching is something that's dear to both Cindy and I.
Yes.
And it always has been. But cattle ranching here in the Flint Hills is so amazing and unique.
And what much larger scale than I've been involved in. You worked on a pretty good sized ranch.
I have.
But that I've been involved in. Good night, Lillian. Lillian's bedtime. She's headed off. Good night, Lillian.
Good night, Lillian.
Thanks for coming in and joining us. But yeah, ranching, my dad had a small cow-calf operation when I was growing up, and it's much larger now. And he does have my nephews to help. But
so where we grew up, small cattle operation was 10 to 40 mama cows. Here, a small operation is 100 to 400 mama cows. That's a small cow-calf operation. And so it's a whole different ball game here.
Yes, Christine, much easier for me as well to do it in pieces. And it would be like long. It'd be like long. And I would have to hold on to all that for a year to try to get it all together. So I'm thinking I'm going to take some old footage from Stewart's as well. And good night, Lillian. We'll see you too. And today I get to film the branding and the the doctoring end of it, because they do need doctored. We in the area we live, those animals do need some vaccines, and they do need care, because there are so many things. Vaccines aren't all bad. We are picky about the ones that we personally take to care. We believe the husbandry of our animals, we need to take care of them, and some vaccines are necessary.
Guys, I'm going to say something that might get me run out of some circles, but the whole idea of going completely medicine-free in livestock, completely antibiotic and vaccine-free, is a nice idea. And at some scale, some guys manage to make it work somewhat. And some rotational grazing and some of that stuff does help. It's practiced here. And let me tell you, there's no excuse to let animals die because you won't give them a shot. And so most of the guys that I work around, and I feel this way too, think that at certain stages in life, it's all right to give vaccines to those animals. It's all right to use antibiotics at certain stages for certain things. Try to avoid using it. One thing that's really popular here that a lot of us are using, finding great results with, is we use a mineral with garlic and cinnamon in it.
Yes, for the fly control.
And it's a fly control. It's it also, the cinnamon also helps our cows ovulate, and it does some other things. But if we got a cow stand there sick, she's going to get a shot.
Yeah.
We're not going to let her die without our best effort.
And the ranchers we know, they're not going to take that cow to butcher until that cow is healthy, and the vaccine, or the not even the vaccine, but the medication is out of their system.
Yes.
They're not going to take that cow to the butcher, because that's their patient.
Yeah.
That's how of those animals, they take good care of their animals. And so, and I know that not everybody's that way, and but you see the bad end of it, and you paint everybody, not you personally, but a lot of people are painting everybody with the same brush.
Yeah.
And it's not so.
We're not using antibiotics or vaccines to substitute for not enough space.
Right.
We're not using it to substitute for not enough feed.
Right.
We're not using it to substitute for good breeding programs.
Right.
We are using it where needed to keep animals alive.
And healthy, yes.
And healthy, yes. And there are some things like blackleg and stuff like that we just don't want to deal with. And if we keep our animals vaccinated, then it keeps it completely out of our county, and then nobody has to deal with it.
Right. So, yeah. So there's our soapbox for the evening. But we do believe in taking care of our animals, and we were very careful with it last year. We had a change of plan, so she's back. So you missed our little soapbox moment, Jan. So sorry. But anyway, we did have to treat our chickens last year, and so we went 3 months without eggs. Because our chickens were sick, and we had to go with rounds of antibiotics, even though two of the antibiotic rounds that they were on, supposedly you could eat eggs. We chose not to, and we went ahead and destroyed the eggs because we wanted to make sure that we were providing quality food. So, and that was in the peak of the egg shortage. And so we lost a big chunk of our income. Our farm income is egg sales. And we missed 3 months of egg sales at prime time because we wanted to make sure our animals were healthy before we provided eggs to our neighbors and friends and customers.
It's important to us that we provide a good,
quality,
safe, high quality product to our customers and our friends, but it's also important to us that we take good care of those animals that are doing that.
And that's just like the little pigs.
And I am sure that a lot of the big scale guys that are raising, and I've heard Ben and Andrea say this about their cattle, when need be, they give antibiotics too if it keeps animals alive.
Had hasty, but yeah.
Yeah, I haven't had to deal with that much as long as we've had chickens.
Not from a grown chicken, a couple of chicks. Yeah.
But I'm glad you're
integrity over profit. Yes, Christine. Yes, yes, we do our best for integrity over profit because it is not worth it to us. We want to provide. Well, we were just raised that our word or our reputation is important, and we want to honor that, and not only want to be treated. And so if we're not going to eat that egg, we don't want to give it to somebody else.
Nope.
And so, that is our responsibility as Christians, as Christ followers, to we're perfect. I'm sure we make plenty of mistakes, but
we also feel like he's given us the responsibility to take the best care of those animals so we can.
Yes. And he gave Adam dominion over animals and over the whole earth. And so that means we take care of things as best we can. And animals. Yep. So, Anyway, so we've been on 55 minutes. That's pretty cool.
Cool.
So yeah, we're looking forward to new animals on the homestead this year. We got a new calf. I haven't put a video up of her yet. Yes, I'm sorry. Yes, I understand. Christine, preach. Yep, that'll preach. Yep. Yeah, well, you'll get us going. We'll get preaching here. But our biggest part that you guys don't see a glimpse of him in our video. Because that's what we really need. Our the number one purpose of a person's life is to love the Lord. Two purpose is to love their neighbors as themselves. So, you've got to, hopefully we exhibit that as best we can. And so, yeah.
So, guys, we've talked a lot about animals tonight, and we've talked a little bit about gardening. And Christine, I hope we can help you some more with your gardening. But guys, when we talk about homesteading, for us, homesteading is a lot about providing food. When we talk about that, animals is a key part of that. Pretty well without animals, but man, a few laying hens sure add to that.
They do. If you can have eggs.
Yeah. And then an old fat hog that'll eat all scraps, that sure helps with that too. Or a milk cow or a goat. But livestock is a nutrition than any other kind of farming, as far as I know, because of the way you can grow those in the ground. You can grow them on. We have 11 acres that we live on. We rent a little grass, not much. We rent 14 acres of grass, and then we partner on some grass.
Thank you, Christine. She just loves us. She's so mad that she didn't check our videos out sooner. She'd be prepared to be still get stiff on the camera. And we do well like this. I don't know. It feels like we're one-on-one with you guys. And I guess I need to come in with that on the camera as well. Pretend y'all are right there, because you are. Whenever you see it, you're there.
On our small homestead, we grow food by the ton.
By the ton. And 11 acres. We were talking about it the other day. I sat up here and started recording all of the food that we provided, because we're up to almost 3 pounds of asparagus so far this year.
Yeah.
But that's just asparagus. That's not the greens that you grew in the greenhouse and we ate. That's not that's not the animals we've butchered.
We get 6 or 8 pounds of eggs that produce sometimes close to 2 to 3 tons of pork a year off of our place.
And then the cattle.
And the beef, same way,
close
3
to
tons.
A ton. Well, yeah.
2 or 3 tons.
The 11 acres.
Right.
But
so livestock is important, guys. And let me tell you, if you're backyarder, chickens are nice. Quail is a good
backyarder. Mm-hmm.
And some of you guys, I think Alan MC does rabbits, but let me tell you that rabbits will produce meat in a backyard. They'll produce meat on a balcony.
Yes.
And they will produce meat. If you like to eat rabbit can produce a lot of feed. They say that 3 does and a buck, bred properly and fed properly, can produce as much meat in a year as a beef cow.
Yeah, that's a lot.
That's a lot of meat.
Especially since we take almost 2 years to raise out a beef.
Yeah. And so that's a kind of a really cool way of producing food, even if you're small scale homesteading in a backyard or a little lot. That it produces a lot of food.
Yeah. And you can get by. I just would like to encourage folks to do, like Christine. Christine, I hope you don't mind me using you as an example. She's doing what she can where she's at. And that's what you do, guys. And Colleen is doing that as well. Colleen, you'll see Colleen with Joyful Abundant. I lost the joyful part, sorry. Joyful Abundant Homestead. You'll see Colleen comment on every one of our videos. I think every one of our videos. And she comes in here when she can too. And you've got, yes, Jen, more than ever, we need to grow our food. We need to know where our food's coming from. We need to take some responsibility. And I know some of y'all, there's lots of things that are going to slow that down, that's going to hinder that. And, not everybody's able to do that, but you're able to do something. You can have, most people can have, like our kids in Kansas City have a little grow light and an aquaponic system that sits on your counter, and they provide their own lettuce for their salads. So, you can do that. It's just little bits. That's right, Jan. They should not limit themselves on what they can grow. Yeah, do what you can with what you have.
And also, besides just growing what you can, you really, I would encourage you, if you can't grow a lot of your own food, to at least go and learn how your food is produced.
Yes.
I am betting that a lot of you guys eat things that you have no clue how it's come into being.
Oh, I do. When I go to Casey's and get a donut, I have no clue where all the crap that went into that donut came from.
And so I'd encourage you, like if you go to a farmer's market, ask those farmers. That's the cool thing about farmer's market is you can shake hands with the guy that produced your food. And so ask them kind of how they grow and what they do. And you're going to find that a lot of stuff at farmers markets is not certified organic.
But that's okay.
Let me tell you, that certified organic is not what you think it is.
Nope. Did you know they can
there
use
are a lot of poisonous chemicals that are certified organic?
Yes.
And some of them are needed.
Yes. They can use poison that kills you.
Cyanide is organic.
Yeah. Cut your carbon footprint, work on sustainability. This is Colleen. I may not go big, but I can go. That's right. You can go. You can do what you can do where you're at. Yeah. And
Christine, we look back at people we knew that did stuff that, man, I wish I could learn from them now.
Yeah.
I had a great uncle.
Yeah.
Near Bristow, Oklahoma.
Yes.
That were edible that we never picked up, and I wish I could go back and walk with Edgar and figure out some things now that I know a little more and interested in more.
Yeah, I wish that I could have paid better attention. My grandparents and my grandmother, my granny and my grandparents on my mother. Granny was on my dad's side, and my grandparents were my other grandparents. My grandmother and my granddaddy on my mom's side. They raised gardens. They didn't raise meat. We took them meat when we go visit. It wasn't a lot because you can't haul a lot. They did fish a lot to provide their meat, some of their meat, and we would take them a little bit. That's not going to get, they were a long ways away, so just what you could get in a little ice chest.
Christine, the more I am involved in the homesteading movement, not critically, like, wow, I didn't even know that was not normal.
Yeah.
But
more laughing at itself.
Yeah. The more I get involved in it, the more I realize how important it is that people know how to cook from scratch. You will never be able to grow your own food and produce your own food if you can't cook from basic scratch things you've grown.
Yeah.
And so I'm glad you were learning to cook, because that is an essential step of homesteading and producing your own food and growing stuff that you know how, or eating stuff that you know how it's grown. That's an important part.
Yep. Colleen says she learned from books and now YouTube. Yep. We learn from YouTube too.
Yep.
Believe it or not, we don't know it all. And we'll be the first ones to tell you we do not know it all. And I love books. I'm reading a book right now that I'm having a blast with, and I struggle probably because so much of our friends and family are in big ag, commercial farming. And I struggle so much with the demonization of commercial farming. And because I know these people, and I know
ranchers at Casey's in the morning, I know they've been up all night calving heifers.
Yeah.
It's not because they're money hungry guys that just spray chemicals and don't care about land or animals.
Right.
It's not. It's because that's how they know how to make a living.
Right.
And they love that. And they sacrifice and they go through that every year because they love that and they believe they are feeding the world, and they are. I mean, we all would like to think we're all eating Joe salad and his chicken, but a lot of us eat a McDonald's hamburger, and a lot of Kansas ranchers are where that McDonald's hamburger came from at one point.
Right.
And I know
Some
that
part of the
McDonald's is
hamburger.
getting a lot different than it used
Yeah.
to be, but
And so that hurt text because I look at my neighbor down the road that puts his blood, sweat, and tears into raising wheat, and he's doing the best that he knows how to do with what he's got.
yeah, and he's using as many organic practices as he can.
As he can.
Because he knows it's good for his ground, he knows it's good for his soil. But letting his pasture or his wheat fields getting overrun with weeds just because he won't spray a chemical doesn't benefit anybody.
So it's just, and a lot of people, we will never be able to be organic certified. For one, it's cost prohibitive. For two, we are not going to require our neighbors to stop doing what they need to do to take care of their grasslands and keep them from being taken over by Sarisa as possibly can, and run with that. So that's just my soapbox. I kind of know a butcher. Happen to kind of live with one.
I'll butcher all kinds of stuff I'll work on.
So we do have some butchering videos, Christine. He's got one where he's breaking down a calf and salvage that calf. And then pork and chicken.
And a deer.
And a deer.
Video. Yes.
Yeah. So
there's a couple, 2 or 3 different pork videos, I think.
Yes, I think so. So those are there in our butchering playlist. So, and we do a lot. We do. Do we have one where you're filleting fish too, or did that not work out?
I don't think that worked out.
Okay.
Sat down to do a filleting fish video and realized I had the dullest knife possible, and didn't have a sharpener. Like, let's not video this because it's not working like it should.
So, about coming up with a presentation.
I think we're going to come up with a curriculum.
Yeah, because of Robertson. Yes, trying to come up with something. We really like mentoring. We've had a few people that we've mentored through the years. We really, really like the mentoring, the one-on-one mentoring. I struggle people have a knowledge about something that I'm talking about and they don't. And so I'm having to I have very, very basic computer knowledge. And somebody can say, well, my computer has this many gigs and that many RAMs and it processes at this speed. And I'm like, your culture, your job, what your knowledge is. Gardening basics from the ground up, literally, Christine. We actually have been thinking about that, Christine, and it's probably, I'm thinking about starting one this fall, like picking where a new area, working on amending that soil and getting it ready for spring, because your garden planting actually starts almost a year in advance of you actually having a garden, because you have to pick where one end of it gets too much water at certain times in the year.
So, yeah, and I've kind of got a weird way. I put a goat. And I thought, man, that ground looks good. Let's put a garden here.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, we have been kicking that around. So probably we just need to get started, huh? Yes. Yes. Yeah, and so hubby's a computer geek, trades you knowledge. Yeah. I need help, Christine. I'm a little bit back in the 21st century back there, 20th century. I'm stuck in the 20th century. I need to be brought up. Yes, we buy as much seed a year ahead of time as we possibly can so that we're prepared.
Yeah. But you can do a garden.
You can do a garden.
You'll learn a lot.
Yes.
And you'll see all the things you can do different.
Yes.
But you can do a garden.
And that seed's not wasted if you don't. This is one thing that I struggle with. Your seed is not wasted if you planted it in the ground and it doesn't germinate, or if you plant it in the ground and that plant comes up and it doesn't thrive. That seed is not wasted because try something else. So that seed need to try something else. So that seed, that time, that
seeds
drops. I don't want to.
We're not even going to lay ours.
We're not going to look.
We've got boxes.
So we probably have that. We probably
random packets. And
we probably have that, and we've probably planted that much already.
Yeah.
Pretty close. Maybe not the 2010, We planted at least 10 pounds of seed.
Showed us this neat little portfolio.
Oh yeah, it was beautiful.
A little portfolio, like you put pictures in, they put all their seeds in it. That's nice.
That's very nice.
That's nice.
I have a ball.
We could almost fill up a pickup with our seeds.
Yes, Drops. I too am a seed hoarder. I have a problem. I go, Christine, we have seeds that your grandpa saved. You know what? You can try them. You can put them in. They're about 20 years old. So, Christine, depending on what kind of seeds they are
and how they were stored. Papa Pepper.
Yes.
Papa Pepper has some good videos on. He cleaned out an old house that nobody lived. Viable things. Go check out some of Papa Pepper's videos. You can check viability with a wet napkin and a window seal,
or in a plastic bag.
Yeah, in a plastic bag and a window seal.
Or a plastic egg carton, or anything that's clear plastic.
Also, just plant some things. There's some ways you can look at a seed and see if it's buggy, it's probably not going to grow. If it's got bug holes and dust from the bugs eating, it's probably not going to grow. But let me tell you about Grandpa's seeds. Something we said earlier, Jan, if you're still on here, and Christine, you'll want to know this too. My grandpa, Cushing, Oklahoma, Payne County raised, Depression era guy. Okra I've been growing for a while now. Here, let me give you something. He gave me a baby food jar full of okra seed. I planted it. Grew 16 feet tall. And literally.
It did. Oh, hang on. YouTube kicking us off. There you go. You're back on. Sorry, guys. It's buffering again.
Grandpa gave that. And we still grow it. We've been growing it and keeping seed off of it for over 20 years.
4 years we've been growing Grandpa Cargill okra.
And so now we're buffering again.
Mm-hmm. Drops sample, do a sample germination. Yes. Another is, oh gosh. Heirloom permaculture. John and Angela. He germination tests a bunch of his seeds that he saves.
Looks like Drops does too.
Okay, cool.
Good thing.
Cool. Drops, do you have a video on that? I don't have a mod in here that can look that up for me. And but if you have, I know you can't put a link in here, but you can at least write it out.
We have sent some of Grandpa Cargill's okra, we call it now. We've sent that all over the nation to people in seed swaps.
Yeah.
And we've grown that, and it's amazing okra. So that's really cool that you've got some of your grandpa's seeds. I hope you're able to save enough of those that you can get some strains going for yourself. Fun. Yes.
That would be fun, because we're nerds that way. We love to do that. We're not big on non-GMO. We're not on heirloom. We do as much as we can heirloom. Matter of fact, the majority of what we grow is heirloom. I think we plant some corn that's not some corn. We plant 3 or 4 different varieties of corn.
The biggest issue I have with GMOs and with hybrids is that you can't save your seed.
Right. And we're big seed savers as much as we can.
Let me tell you that a lot of hybrids, you can save your seed. And a lot of them will still produce. They won't produce identical to what they started as.
Right.
Being a hybrid, they'll produce from one or the other side. So you can grow a big, nice, round hybrid Better Boy tomato, and the next tomatoes that seed produces won't be the same. And so that's the biggest problem with hybrids.
Drop says he's been having internet trouble too. Oh, you're going to set some. Oh, Christine says her grandpa had the best tomatoes ever. Yes, ever. Yes. And And he doesn't have a video.
Okay.
Doesn't have a video on the germination test.
Well, Drops, that's a good idea for a video.
Yeah. I may do one too, Drops. I've got some seed that didn't, and I think I'm going to do a germination test on it, and I'll see if I can get it videoed. My eggplant, I'm having my eggplants didn't germinate well, and some of my bell pepper seed that I saved over, even though it was from heirloom, it didn't germinate well. Had a rest to see if that's what the ratio I got in a more controlled environment.
We've been on there an hour.
Yep.
And we're glad that there are people that do that, and that gives us a great seed versatility.
Yes, it does.
And library to draw from. And I appreciate you guys that do that.
Yes.
I appreciate Baker Creek for their
a lot of seed. And if things got where we couldn't buy seed, 10 years if we weren't saving seed.
Yeah.
I mean, it's my seed addiction, Drops. We need a seed hoarders anonymous club here. It's we're going to have to move to because I have it spread out into so many different areas.
You know, they say that seeds keep better in the refrigerator. My grandpa used to keep them in a freezer and in a refrigerator. That works good. We would need a separate refrigerator just for seeds.
Yes, we would need a whole refrigerator just for seeds. Yep. Oh, Drops, you haven't got your deer fence up yet? They ate your parsley? Oh my gosh.
You know, Drops, I went to a college class years ago on bulbs and tubers. And the first thing that the professor told us is what a great deterrent not many bulbs and tubers were.
Right.
And he said that daylilies would drive deer away and they would repel deer. And I had to laugh because a guy that I did some work for and coon hunted on a lot was building fences everywhere to keep the deer out of his daylilies. They were coming in and mowing them off. And so, it surprises me that deer are eating parsley, but you never know what they're going to eat.
So, Christine, when they're kept in the freezer, they are kept dry. They are kept in an airtight container, but frozen or kept.
Yes, Christine, also, that's only certain kinds of seeds.
Yes.
That he would do that with. Beans were one of them.
Beans are one.
And corn is another one. But that was only certain kinds of seeds he would do that with. Okra, peas, things like that. He just kept out in the garage in a jar.
Yeah.
So, and we've kept all that just in a good dry box in our living room or our room or
in the closet
or scattered around under the couch.
So a very dear friend of mine, Rachel, and I were talking. Rachel with Robertson's Belly Acres when we were down there the other day. We stayed the night with them a week ago Friday night. And before we went to the Missouri Homesteaders meetup, we were talking, and she's like, I want to be such a minimalist, but homesteading and minimalist don't go together. And no, they don't go together at all. And I don't know how many times we have been through stuff and like, oh my goodness, we need to get rid of stuff. And then it's like, well, what do we get rid of? Because
you've got to have your canning stuff. You got to have your cheese making stuff. You got to have your milk and stuff. You got to have your butcher stuff. You got to have your sausage making stuff. You got to have your seeds. You got to have your garden stuff. You got to have your tools to make a living. You just have to have some things to homestead. And it would be nice if we could do like the movies show, and I got a gun and an axe, and I'm going to go farm in the wilderness,
dig the whole thing up with a shovel.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, sure.
They also died young. They died young. So remember that.
Yeah, Dan, it just doesn't work. And, we downsized when we moved to our current homestead. We downsized. So we went from a little over 1,800 square foot house to 800 square feet. So a little single wide trailer house. We also had gone down to one child at home. She's tired and broke just hearing the list. Yes, Christine. And it's,
Christine, I know you're not super familiar with us. We are serious about producing a lot of our own food. And we like to spread out the areas we produce our own food in. So we do dairy, and we do a lot of things. So that takes a lot, and that's not something you start overnight.
And it's been years in the making. And sometimes that's by choice.
Mm-hmm.
We choose to have some convenient stuff.
Yes, we do.
We could completely feed ourselves. We would have to do without some dairy at certain times of the year, like milk products. But yeah.
And there are a lot of things, Christine, that we could do without all the equipment we have. You could do it. You can do a lot of things with a good knife. But we don't. You ought to also know that we also produce and sell some things at the farmer's market. So we're doing a little more than just feeding ourselves.
Drop says he bought a hand grain grinder because he thought he needed it last week.
Yeah.
So one of our big sellers at the farmer's market, and we didn't have this year because last year was such a poor year for our growing, is we'll sell cornmeal. And we have often thought of coming up with a hand grinder so that we could have the kids grind their own corn into meal. And
I've got an old hand sheller.
Yes.
We could have them shell and grind their own corn.
And just do that at the farmer's market as a fun thing to do. Christine asked about she could plant direct in the soil and use the sprinkler system to water, do a wrist disease.
Part of it, Christine, is what you're talking about. What kind of plants? Water green beans like that. Water corn like that does great. Squash like that will do okay, depending on temperatures and when you water.
Right.
Tomatoes, potatoes.
Your nightshade plants, yeah.
It's best if you don't do that. 2 ways to avoid that: mulch the ground good so that dirt's not splashing up on your plants. Another way is to just lay out and let it soak the ground and not sprinkle from the top.
Yeah,
let your hose soak the ground.
Being in central Oklahoma, you're gonna have to worry about heat and times of day that you water. A soaker hose would be good. Especially one that you could regulate, especially on like the tomatoes and the squash of how much water they get.
Yeah, Drops.
Carnitas.
We eat a lot of meat.
Yes.
That is our big production. We eat a lot of meat. We eat a lot of vegetables at times. At times it's down to canned green beans. But that we've canned. But and our youngest daughter has told us what she's tired of.
Hang on. You're a homesteader when you ask your child, they're coming home to visit, and you say, what do you want to eat? And they say, not steak, not green beans, not greens,
not squash.
And not squash. And there was something else she didn't want, pork chops. That's when you know you're a homesteader. Drops got a dump truck load of compost last week. Is that for your raised beds that you're building? Because if you guys haven't checked out Drops Family Garden, he's building some really neat raised beds.
So, Christine, there's 2 ways of thinking of that. Some people will tell you, depending on what you're doing, but I think watering in the evening is best because it gives it all night to soak in before it evaporates. There are sometimes some blight issues can be aggravated with that, but for the most part, I'd say that watering in the evening is what I have found to be the best. Now, I'm sure there are people that disagree with that and got their reasons for that.
Christine says, tell them that she'll bring them McDonald's and eat their dinner. If you would bring her
Taco Bell.
Taco Bell, Qdoba, or Chipotle. Qdoba and Chipotle are her favorites.
But we cook those kind of things
I
at
know,
home too.
we cook them at home, and she loves them.
Yeah.
Like they've been making power bowls, which she likes. She really likes the bowls and burritos.
Yeah, a lot like the bowl you would get at Qdoba.
She's
or
her mom.
Chipotle. Yeah, a lot like the bowl you would get at Qdoba.
She's
or
her mom.
Chipotle.
She's her mom. She likes a lot of Hispanic foods.
Yeah,
which we don't.
drops.
Yeah.
I get sick of green beans sometimes too, but let me tell you, we go to some camps and different conferences and stuff, go through the cafeteria, and they'll say, "You want green beans?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, sure, put them on my plate. I'll eat green beans." And I get a mouthful of them things that come out of a commercial can. I'm like, "Oh, I don't like green beans. I love green beans at home, but not in when they come out of a store."
Right. And it's just because we're spoiled. We're spoiled to raising our own, to quality food.
Mm-hmm.
To quality things we took for granted, things that, the skills we started out of necessity because I wanted to be a stay-at-home mom. And
Christine, let me tell you that when you start raising your own food and some tortillas
and seasonings,
some beans, and when you're growing your own food, it works great for that. Huevos rancheros, man, you're growing your own food, make your own salsa and grow some eggs. You've got huevos rancheros. Making making tacos at home, all that stuff. Mexican food works great in a homesteading lifestyle.
Yeah. And it's great. Yeah.
And that's what it really came out of, is that sustenance level agriculture is where Mexican food
we
came
didn't
out
know
of.
we were homesteaders.
That's what it really came out of, is that sustenance level agriculture is where Mexican food
we
came out of.
didn't know we were homesteaders until, 2 years ago?
We didn't know what to call what we did, to tell you the truth. We just like to grow our own food and do our things for ourselves.
Yeah. So just a little bit over 2 years, closer to 3 years. Because in our mind, homesteaders were like what my great-grandparents did and your great-great-grandparents did. They moved across country, picked up their kids, moved across country, or stole their bride in the middle of the night.
And went to Oklahoma or Indian Territory and stuck out a piece of ground and lived on it.
Yeah.
And then earned it from the government that way.
Yeah. So, that's what we thought of homesteading. And it's not. It's being as self-sufficient as you can. Yes, it would be great with any lifestyle.
Yes,
yeah, I agree. I don't know. I could live on Mexican.
I like that a lot. I also really like Czech food.
Yeah, Czech food's good.
I like runzas or bieroks. I like pierogis. I like kolaches.
Good night, Colleen.
And if any of our viewers out there can make kolaches, so you can mail them to me.
Oh goodness! So yeah, I like food. We like food. So we have I have some German influence. My granny was full blood German, but her and her grandparents from Germany. And so growing up, anyway. So I had a lot of German, but mostly it was Depression era. She was raising children, get just married and raising children during the Depression. So
Christine, my grandmother made that Grapes of Wrath trip. Like they depict then in Model A pickup. She made that twice in her childhood, from Oklahoma, from Buckeye Creek, to California once.
They went to Oregon.
And to Oregon both times to pick fruit and do those kind of jobs. And neither of them worked out, and they ended up coming back to Buckeye Creek every time. So that's kind of cool that you have a grandpa that moved.
Depression baby, she says. Yep. So our heritage is greatly influenced by Okies. And a lot of things, growing up, everybody had a garden. Not everybody, but the majority of people raised their own meat and butchered their meat.
Some of them butchered for others.
Bye, Jan.
See ya.
See you later. We need to get off here too. We've been long-winded. We've long-winded. 35 minutes on here, guys. We're gonna have to get going. An hour and 35 minutes. 35 minutes over is what I meant, but I didn't.
Okay, gotcha.
But I didn't. I messed up my words. But anyway. Yeah, Granny was from Arkansas and migrated to California.
Yeah, my dad used to hunt with an old guy that had grown up in southeastern Oklahoma during the Depression and had moved to California to live with an uncle when he was young. Older, or as an adult, he had come back to the U.S. after he'd served, or after the U.S. Yeah, he left California and came back to the U.S. He left California after he'd served in the military and came back to Oklahoma. And I learned a lot from that old man. He taught me to be an outdoorsman.
Yeah.
Along with my grandpa's. But yeah, drops. I'd be interested to see how that works. I would venture to guess it'll work good for the first few weeks, and then the deer will figure it out.
They'll get used to it.
But I'd be interested to see how that works. I hope you do a video on that.
Yeah, do. And I've been enjoying your raised bed garden videos. I'm a little bit behind, and so I don't think I've watched any this past week. So I've got to get caught up.
And YouTube.
It is. We've been on a big push this past week. So I've got to get caught up.
And YouTube.
It is. We've been on a big push. Thank you, Christine. And we're going to sign off, y'all. We need to get off here. And so I pray you guys have a blessed week. And we'll